happen to be my views, and well, we'd hoped to have Bob Chapman on with us this afternoon. Bob Chapman from the International Forecaster, and but I was certainly a little disturbed when he didn't call in here. It looked like we weren't going to have him. I couldn't get a copy of the International Forecaster, which ordinarily comes out on Saturday, and I didn't get a copy this week. I tried to email him, as I do when I don't get a copy, and the email wouldn't go through. And it was my fear that maybe something had happened to Bob. He's been at this for close to 50 years. As you know, I've been at trying to expose what's going on for over 47 years. And certainly, I always worry about Bob. He has been forced to live in another country because of the multiple attempts on his life. But fortunately, Bob Chapman is with us right now. Hi, Bob. How are you doing?
Oh, pretty good. Who are you talking about there, the multiple attempts?
I was talking about you. At least you said they've been after you for a long time.
Oh, gosh, yes.
Well, anyway,
and they're relentless. It started in 1967, and they haven't let go ever since.
Well, I've been trying. I didn't get my forecaster this weekend. I must have had the wrong email address because I couldn't reach it by email, and I was really rather worried about you.
Oh, well, our email is down, going in and out, and we did send that on Saturday, and I will tell Judy about it, and she, in fact, will send you one as soon as we get our email back.
Oh, right, fine. Well, let me.
So we're okay, and I will get you a copy, and I'm sorry for the inconvenience, and I am alive.
All right, fine. Well, I keep looking for you because I figure that they'll come for you before they come for me. Under any circumstances, Bob publishes something called the International Forecaster. It comes out twice a week. It's a wonderful source of information. We always look forward to getting it. And ladies and gentlemen, contrary to everything you're being told, why the economy is terrible. If you read, of course, the public media, they tell you, things are better, the economy is improving because the gross domestic product was up 5.2% in the last quarter. And people said, the economy is great. The gross domestic product was up 5.2%. How many Americans even know what the gross domestic product is? Very few of them. They simply repeat what they're told. But, of course, we have no increased employment. People are still losing their homes. The gross domestic product reflects spending. And when the government pours out all sorts of money, why you'd expect that there'd be more spending. But if you read what Mr. Borofsky says, the Inspector General of TARP, and you can get this on the Internet, he tells you we're on the edge of a collapse of another bubble, that they have done exactly again what they did when we had the subprime bubble that almost brought the economic system down in October of the year 2008, and we're ready to do it all over again. Have you been following what Mr. Borofsky's been saying, Bob?
I didn't see that part, but I have been following it, and he doesn't want to get enmeshed and caught up in the evil of this thing. When you get those Inspector General type jobs, and there's about 15 of them, I think. They're czars, as they call them, and he doesn't want to go down in history as one who looked the other way. And what has been going on and what's continuing to go on. And his point, as you pointed out, is so well taken.
Hold that thought. We'll be right back. Well, this is Dr. Stan, and Chris Bob is talking about how the Central Bank of the United States, and really all the banks of the world, but the Federal Reserve System, our privately owned central bank, have suddenly dropped the combined money and credit. Now, that's known as M3. They used to publish it. They stopped publishing it. Why? Because they don't want the public to know what's happening. But, of course, they've dropped the M3 from about 17%. Bob's saying 3 or 4%. I'm getting some figures even lower than that. But it's unbelievable. In other words, they are suddenly contracting the monetary supply. What does that mean to the average individual who finds it difficult to figure out what we're talking about? Well, all you need to do is go back and study what happened during the Great Depression. And, of course, this is covered very nicely in a book called Capitalism and Freedom by Milton Friedman. And he will tell you that every time the economy started to recover, the central bank contracted or restricted the M3 or monetary supply, pulled money out of the system, and of course it began then to collapse again. And then every time it began to right itself, they pulled out more money, and they intentionally precipitated this terrible suffering for the American people in the 1930s. And what we're seeing today is deja vu all over again. Bob Chapman, you pick up the story.
You sounded like Yogi Berra there.
Right.
But anyway, and so we've had a reduction in the issuance over the past year of what used to be called M3, money and credit. And the European Central Bank has dropped from 12.8 to minus 0.08%, if you can believe that. And the Bank of England's down to 3% from 14.5%. So this whole thing is coordinated. It just didn't happen that way. It's not coincidence. They're doing it together. Now, they're doing that, I think, because they want to reduce inflation. And that would help to do that. But on the other hand, the question seeps into your mind, are they doing it because they want to take the system down? We don't know that yet. Now, the TARP funds that, as Dr. Stan has pointed out, which are about $800 billion, of which probably maybe 300 have come back.
Now, that's billion dollars, $800 billion.
Billion dollars. I'm sorry if I said it incorrectly. And probably 300 billion have come back. And they intend to use the rest of them, rather than put the money back in the Treasury, to be able to put that money into the economy. Of course, that monetizes it, and that's inflationary. And so I think what they think is we have enough inflationary firepower to offset deflation in spite of the fact we brought M3 down. And that's what they're thinking. And I think they're wrong. And I think they're going to have to hustle to get back in the inflationary mode again. And I think we'll see that happen. Either that or they want the plug pulled. You know, when I saw the European Central Bank doing that about 6 or 8 months ago, I said, you know, they're looking for trouble. Because if they want a depression, they'll get one, a deflationary one. We're already in a inflationary depression. Well, only time will tell here. Both are bad. If it's inflationary, it'll precede a deflationary depression. If not, we'll just go directly into the soup, so to speak. And I think, you know, we're going to learn very quickly, you know, over the next several months. And, you know, whatever they've got planned will only make the economy go sideways. And that is in the art of stimulation. I noticed in that $3.8 trillion new budget, which ends on this September the 30th, the end of the fiscal year, that they are going to have a $1.6 trillion deficit. And, of course, it'll be over $200 trillion. And they're going to earmark $100 billion to promote people who own businesses to hire people that they don't need. And on top of that, they're going to lend the states $25 billion more so they can continue to pay extended unemployment. These are no solutions. The only solution is, and they know this, is to allow the companies which are bankrupt to go bankrupt, which is all the major banks, the brokerage firms, and the insurance companies, never mind a host of corporations. And they don't want that to happen because most of the people who run those entities are members of the Brotherhood of Darkness. And so onward and upward we go, and where we're going to end up, nobody knows, but it's not good.
Well, you know, it's very interesting, Bob. Suddenly I was thinking about Alan Greenspan's book, The Age of Turbulence. Well worthwhile reading, because there, of course, he explains to you that the function of the Federal Reserve System is to take away the punch bowl just when the party gets going. In other words, restrict the availability of money and credit when the economy heats up. Do not let it get into a bubble. Do not let it expand too rapidly. And what did Alan Greenspan do? He not only, didn't take away the punch bowl, he was pouring in vodka with one hand and rum with the other. In other words, he was intentionally overheating the economy and creating first a stock market bubble and then, of course, the housing bubble.